Welcome to the Weekly Coaches Show. I'm here with head men's basketball coach Travis Williams. Travis, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mata. How about yourself?
I'm all right. Okay, so we have some ground we had to cover. The last time we talked about the Michigan trip. You guys traveled to the University of Michigan to take on the University of Michigan Dearborn. Just quickly talk about like how that trip was and the experience up there and like the atmosphere in the city, because that's one of the biggest college towns, I feel like, Ann Arbor. So just talk about that real quick.
It was a great experience, I would say, for the staff and for the players. As far as the travel out there, driving to Michigan obviously was an incredible feat. I felt that we probably could have used a little bit more rest out there to get prepared. Like when they came to see us, they had like 3 practices on our floor.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have their own gym at the moment, so we weren't able to get any practice after the long rides. We came out and did our community service and pretty much, got right to business. So I just felt like it was a very, very great experience. I would do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see us just get a little bit more rest and a little bit more downtime to prepare a little bit more for the opponents.
Absolutely. I feel like all of those things play a very big factor into the outcome of games. All right, into the new year, you guys into conference play. You guys fell to Penn State Wilkes-Barre on the road, but since that point, you guys won 5 out of 1 games. Just talk about like not staying complacent and staying hungry and keeping your eyes on the end goal.
Obviously, Penn State Wilkes-Barre is very formidable. They're on the top of the conference right now. I think they knocked off York. They have 1 loss in the conference, so the best part about that is there's no undefeateds left in the conference, right? So that makes you feel good a little bit. I felt that, coming off the long break, I know that Penn State Wilkes-Barre had come back and played a couple games right before us. So that kind of seemed that they were a little bit more in their skin and prepared to play us, whereas we were still kind of figuring things out because we added a new starter to the roster. And honestly, a lot of people don't like it, but I think we needed it. You know what I'm saying? I think we needed to get beat up to keep us focused, as you had just mentioned. After you kind of get knocked off your high horse a little bit, it kind of helps you zone in and go back to basics and start tightening up the rest of the operation.
Absolutely. I feel like all of those things are very important as well. All right, this past week you guys went 2-0. You guys defeated NCAA Division III program Clark Summit University, and you guys had a huge 34-point win against Penn State Scranton. Just talk about those 2 games.
The 2 games that, I felt like we got a little bit more personable with the team. We bonded a little bit. We were driving vans to both games. So it's when I'm driving the van, I'm like coaching while I'm on my way to the game. Not really letting guys sleep too much because they're closer to campus, and I'm kind of yelling out some of these things that guys do best on those 2 respective teams that we're about to play.
Yeah.
Another thing is that, it was earlier in the week, and I really felt like a sense of calmness with the team. Like they had just come off of a couple of days off, ready to get back to it. We gave up a little bit of a size advantage against Clark Summit, but we were still able to pull through with the win. They have one thing I noticed about Clark Summit is they have a lot of guys from all over the country as well. And sometimes, me doing that a great deal here at Penn State Schuylkill, obviously now having a guy from Rio, a guy from Spain, and so on and so forth, it's just like getting guys all on the same page isn't as easy as you would think.
Yeah.
If you're just a coach and say, hey, let's just run this offense. Everybody has different terminologies. Everybody has different spots on the floor, things that they focus on, things that they have been taught. So really getting around to being on the same page is a challenge. And I felt that because of our experiences up until that point, that was the advantage in that game in Clark Summit. Looking at Penn State Scranton, I know that their best player had a knee injury. So we ran a couple different defenses that we typically wouldn't run, and we were looking to take out their primary scores that were left over. So that pretty much led to everybody getting a chance to play big minutes, everybody getting in the scores column, and obviously a pretty good victory for Penn State Schuylkill.
Absolutely. All right, the final stretch of the season is coming up, the month of February before the postseason. 6 of the next 8 games are going to be at home. Just talk about like playing at home as opposed to playing on the road, like just having your home crowd backing you up in those type of situations.
Mata, you always ask some really good questions. So I think it's a double-edged sword. We haven't been at home a lot, so our players haven't played in front of their respective families, their friends, girlfriends, and whatnot. Sometimes those things can have players play a little bit uncharacteristic themselves just by being at home. Obviously, I have to be excited. You know, I get to my bed a little sooner. I get a chance to walk right from my office to the game.
Definitely.
You know, traveling is tough. I feel that we mastered traveling this year with so many away games. So, but it is nice to be able to come in, fine tune, have a nice record to boast about in conference, and then obviously be able to put on a good show for the local campus and the local community. You know, as far as like these home stretches, I need home games right now. I'm dying, you know. I'm like, oh my God, you know, because I feel like it's a van or a bus, you know. So it will definitely feel good in those regards. And we're obviously looking to defend our home court a great deal. And we'll see, you know, if we can take care of business on our home floor, hopefully we can have a home playoff berth as well.
Absolutely. All right, before we end, we're gonna do start bench cut. This time we're gonna do NBA coaches between Pat Riley, Phil Jackson, and Red Auerbach.
This is tougher than the players. Wow. So I have to say, you got to start Red Auerbach, right? You got to start Red.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
You have to. I mean, he. You know, it's always about where you fall in history, right? You know, Michael Jordan didn't do anything without Phil Jackson.
Oh man.
So I have to start Phil, or I have to start Red. I have to bench Phil. You can't cut Phil.
You can't.
Man, it's a tough one. I can't even plead the fifth on this one. I mean, Pat Riley, sorry, bro. You know, I mean, as far as those other two names, we got to cut you. I can't even give really a good reason why I would, because he's one of the great coaches as well, and he's been able to change his coaching style and transcend throughout time. So, man, maybe hold on. Let me answer that again. Let's cut Red.
Cutting Red.
Let's start Phil and let's bench Pat.
Okay.
And the reason why I cut Red, you know, there could have been some skepticism there with some things that are you know, a little bit off cuff. Plus, I don't know as much about that man as I do the two others. So
different eras too. I feel like
definitely
competition was different. It wasn't as many teams as it is today. So,
and I feel like Red had an all-star team.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say that.
And considering, I think Red had an all-star team where I feel like, you know, Pat and Phil definitely had to pull in some of those GM skills into their coaching abilities to be successful.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Travis, for joining us this week. See you guys next week.
Always a pleasure, man. Thanks. Yep.